Hey, how you doing guys? It's Ilya Belly here. I do coding stuff on YouTube. Check the description for all my information. I do all LeetCode problems. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, give me a big thumbs up to support it, and this is called Permutations 2. Given a collection of numbers that might contain duplicates, return all possible unique permutations. So like 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and 2, 1, 1. Let's start. First off, you of course create list integer. It's called result. You return that in the end of this problem. You say array list, the type of list, and integer. Yeah, and then if nums equals to null, or just nums dot length equals to 0, you return result, an empty list. Otherwise, to return all possible unique permutations, you need to make sure that all elements into this array of nums are sorted, because we need to make sure that we can skip the same element, right? So we say arrays.sort, we use dual pivot, like quicksort, variation of quicksort, arrays.sort, and nums. Then we create an array of type boolean. It's called scene, to make sure that we mark as true, as seen, the element which we already seen, right? And we already added that element into the list which we need to create as well. So we say new boolean, and of course the length of that array will be nums.length. Yeah. Then we need to create a helper method that's called depth first search. We do basically a depth first search. We pass nums, we pass scene, we pass the result, and also we need to create array list, type integer, and finally we return result. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna create that first search method, and we say private void depth first search, and here int nums scene boolean scene, and list integer result, and also list integer and just list. Now at each depth first search we check if the length of the list dot size equals to nums dot length, we need to add this result into the result, into res. So we say res and also add list, and we return. Yeah. Otherwise, if it's smaller than, if it's less than the number of the length of that array, we say for, we create a for loop, int I equals to 0 and I is less than nums.length and I plus plus. Here we check if seen, if we already seen this element when we kind of like do this depth first search recursively, we continue. Otherwise, we check if I is greater than 0 and nums I minus 1 equals to nums the current element, and also visited is false, then we continue. So what does it mean? That means that we check if I is greater than 0 to make sure that we are within bounds, and nums I minus by the way, I forgot to make sure that we do kind of like deep copy, not a reference copy. We need to say new array list integer, and here we say we pass list, so it will be constructed the list containing all elements from this collection, right? We don't use reference or kind of like shallow copy. We use object, we copy the, we just create a new object of new array list of type integer. And here to prevent out of bounds, and we check if the previous element equals to the current element, 1 minus 1 equals to 1, and also the visited element, like this one, right? I minus 1, the previous element is false, but we continue because we can add the element into the list, only the current element into the list, like 1 at the position of 1, only if the previous element, which is equal to the current element, is true, right? Equals to true. If it's not, then we continue, or just equals to true, or just has seen, it's been seen. That's it. So yeah, and here we say seen at I equals to true. As I explained before, we mark the element as seen, Also, we need to add the element into the list. We say list.add nums at I, and we do depth first search. We pass nums, we pass scene, we pass result and list. After that, after depth first search, which we call recursively, we need to mark this element as false and remove this element from this list. We say list.size -1 to get the last element from this list. So that's what we are doing. Here I think that's pretty obvious what we do. Here we just sort the array. We create the array of type boolean. We also create the helper method, nums, scene, result, integer. If the list, if the size of this list equals to nums.length, we add the result, this list, into this list, the result, and we return. Otherwise, we create a for loop. We're looping through these nums until the end of this array, and if it's seen, if we've seen this element before, then we continue. Otherwise, we check if the previous element equals to the current one, and also the previous element we already is false, then we continue, right? Yeah, and otherwise we mark this element as true, current element, and list dot add this element, and we do depth first search. After that, we mark the element this position as false, and we remove the last element. That's it. Let's try first try. We will see. Error, why error, visited. Alright, seen. Of course, we just seen or just visited, whatever. There we go, accepted. Guys, seen or just visited, you can call that whatever. Success. Nice. Thank you guys for watching. Leave your comments below. I want to know what you think, and see you next time. Have a nice day.